What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for tuning in. For all the people that have been following from day one or, month 5, whatever, I've been absent. I apologize. I started that new role and it took a lot of my attention. We had another kid, things like that. The Cove. We don't have to get into it. Maybe you guys can hear more about that in the future podcasts coming out. Yep, that's right. Your boy's coming out with a podcast with a few other people, and we're going to be talking about medical sales, what it's like to be in it, and, just our perspectives, different things like that. So the other guy that I'm doing this with, yes, he is also a medical sales rep. He is a stud, killing it right now. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be dropping some information for you guys to, find that channel and hey, tune in. It's going to be great. But that much anticipated, what you've been looking for, I've had so many people messaging me because I haven't posted the video even though we hit the subscriber count that I was wanting, and that is the Stryker pay video. It is here right now. We're going to jump into it, and again, this is going to be one of those things where I'll kind of just like dialogue what's going on. I'm not going to go as detailed as I was with the Cintas one because that one I actually had a ton of information still. It was reasons for me building my BRAGBOOK and different things like that. When it came to Stryker, I'll jump into that, but I didn't really have that much information that I could find on it besides, bank account and and the pay stubs. So I'll jump into that portion, let you guys know how much I made for the year. If you caught the, what's that thing called? The short. Whoever got closest to that, I'm going to send you a copy of my BRAGBOOK, so at least you can start developing your own BRAGBOOK so that you can eventually get into this industry if that's something that you want to do. So congratulations to that person. And yeah, so let's jump on into this. All right, guys, so this is what I am looking at right now. It is a few of my Stryker paychecks as well as I believe one of my W-2s. I got 2 from this company due to me not being there for a full fiscal calendar year, such as January to December, but I'll add those 2 things up so at least you guys know what the total was. But I want to give you guys a little bit of preface before I kind of scroll through all this and jump into it. The thing about this role that you have to understand is Stryker only paid you 1 time a month. That's right, 1 time. That's just crazy. I have no idea why they do that. It makes it so difficult for somebody that's trying to break into the industry and doesn't have that much money in their account or anything to bridge that gap. So it, on top of already being a grind, it's just that much more difficult because you're having to jump into something and only getting paid 1 time a month. So for the people out there, I'm pretty sure that's still the pay structure for it. So the people out there trying to get into this role, keep that in mind. Hopefully you have like at least a tiny little nest egg that you can pull from while you're waiting for that first check to come through. But jumping into the offer that I got to come over to Stryker, it was a $40,000 base, and I was going to be receiving 13% of my sales, that would be my commission, and then 15% on growth. So that would mean if like the account that I was selling to hadn't ever used that product, or that product is getting used a lot more now, so I'm getting paid on the growth of it. So I would get 15% of those sales. Before, you guys are like, well, how big was your territory? I mean, I worked a larger than a $1 million territory. So people that are really good at numbers right now, let's just go with the 13%. If you took 13% of $1 million, that's $130,000. That is not what your boy was getting paid, because your boy was a full line rep, but I was splitting the territory with somebody else. So I believe when I first started out, I owned about 12% of that territory. So now when you're looking at $1 million, you have 120,000 of that $1 million quota was my quota, and then now you got to break that 120 down to 13%. So out of that 120, I was getting 13% of that. So it's not like your boy was making some kind of ridiculous amount of money. And granted, it was probably my fault just being so overzealous and naive and really wanting to get into this industry that I didn't look too deeply into the contract. I was just taking what my manager said at face value, that, hey, your first year, you're probably going to take a slight pay cut. From the guys that watched the Cintas video, I made over, I think it was just shy of $120,000 at my best year. And coming to here, they were telling me that I was going to be making anywhere between $85,000 to $95,000. So I was like, yeah, it's a pay cut, but you know what? It's the industry I want to get into. And they told me that year 2, I would be back to about that amount. And then year 3, I wouldn't even regret ever having left Cintas. And let's kind of jump into this and see if that is a true factor so that we can get to the final numbers. I can let you guys see what I made, and then you can make the decision yourself if you want to go with like a name brand company like Stryker, or shoot your shot with a smaller company that's going to pay you possibly more. So jumping in, what you guys can see here is, again, this is my paycheck for December 15th of 2017. One paycheck. Down here in the yellow, you're going to see $4,500. So, I mean, when you look at that, that's not too bad. I forgot to also mention, does it show it here? Yes. So right up here in the middle, sorry for you guys that are either listening to this in your car, can't take a look, but you'll see your regular salary and then your commission. So regular salary, nothing. Commission salary, that's where I got $3,400. And then commission fixed. So I was on a guarantee for the first 12 months, and that guarantee was 33, as you guys can see right there. And that meant I at least had, you know, a floor. If I had a terrible month as a team and on our quota, I was still going to get paid out that commission piece. So what was nice about that is, for somebody that hasn't, you know, essentially been in sales, you at least have something that you can look forward to, knowing that you have a base. But as you guys can see, you know, even with that base, after taxes and everything come out of there, where were we on trying to find, is that the year today? Is that accurate? So up here, the gross for this paycheck was $6,826. Your boy took home $4,500. So Uncle Sam came in, took $1,632 from my check. Wild. All right. So that's what you guys are going to have to base your entire month of expenses now to live off of. And things don't change too much. You know, here's January of 2018, another $4,500 check. So I don't believe that even on this one, which all the people out there that have never worked in one of these roles before in medical sales, a lot of these sales are based off of what you call like an elective surgery. So you're choosing to go get that surgery, not, you don't have to go get it, you want to go get it. Kind of like a boob job or a facelift, different things like that. Like, you're choosing that. So when you're looking at an elective surgery, a lot of people don't want to jump into one of these until later in the year because you haven't reached your deductible. So you would rather pay small amounts towards your deductible to then at the end of the year not have to pay so much, compared to in January, let's say you had a surgery scheduled, you're probably going to end up paying the entire amount of your deductible right there in January. And a lot of people don't have that money to just immediately drop all of those funds into, you know, a surgery. So they would rather have to go and do a couple of doctor visits here and there throughout the entire year to reach that deductible. So it's nice to have the guarantee right now. So I haven't even out cashed my guarantee, so I'm still getting exactly what the guarantee was. Here in February, what is this check showing? So check's showing the exact same thing pretty much. I'm still getting my same guarantee. Came out to be $4,300 on this one, a little bit less than the last 2 months. But luckily for me, I believe I started in April or May of last year. And so I had time to work and grow my territory with my partner, and I was able to hit quota. So quota got paid out, as you guys can see here, the last week of February on the 28th, and your boy finally got his first bonus, 6,600. But let me tell you guys, that's the only one. You bonus one time a year, so completely different than the life that I had at Cintas, where I was getting a monthly commission check and then a quarterly bonus. So this was the only bonus I got for the entire time that I was working there, and that's because I hit quota. If you don't hit quota, you're not bonusing. So I got very fortunate to have done that. Then come March, look at that significant drop in pay. That was like, you're talking, if you're only bringing home 4,700 to 4,500, like your check just went down $1,000. That's a big chunk. You gotta really be prepared. You need to make sure that you're not out living your income, you know, like, so you got to make sure that your expenses fall in line with the amount of money that you're making, because in sales, whether it be, like I'm saying, Cintas, where I used to be, or here at Stryker, it's a roller coaster ride. So you don't know exactly how much you're going to keep bringing in. But just wanted to make sure that you guys kind of saw that bit. And here is another check. It just looks a little bit different for whatever reason. This one came out to be 4,100. So as you guys saw, like, I kind of hovered around that 4K range. It wasn't anything phenomenal. It wasn't like out of the ordinary. It was pretty much like average to maybe slightly above average. And I say that because I still have friends that work at Stryker since the day that I started, and having a conversation with them, they took like about 3 years before they finally broke that 6-figure mark. And if you guys remember in my last video, my very first year working in sales, I went from making about $30,000 a year as a personal trainer to suddenly making, I think it was $92,000. So I tripled my income. That's wild, right? And then here you are as a medical device rep. You have so much more weight on your shoulders. You've got patients that are depending on you. You've got doctors that are depending on you. And I'm making, you know, $4,000 a month after taxes. This was one of the W-2s that I got. Again, remember, I had 2 of them. So this one came out to be $38,220 for, what year was this? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because I've got the numbers over here. But so for this particular one, I got 38.2. Then on my other, so actually looking at this, that was my one for the 2017 year. For the 2018 year, I got 44,300, a little bit more than that. So when you add those two up, I finished, you could say, 14 months at Stryker, because this is both of those combined, 82,568. I took a huge pay cut. When you look at that, let's say I made, I can't remember in that video, it was just shy of 120. So I lost 20, 30, almost $38,000. Even if you went down to 110,000, you're still losing $28,000. So I took a 28K pay cut to get into this industry. And I'm going to tell you guys, like, for me, obviously, because of where I am now, it was 100% worth it. The experience that I got was phenomenal. The stories that I have from it are wonderful, and it's something that I wouldn't change. But would I make smarter moves next time? 100%, definitely. I would not just like jump at one of the first offers that I'm getting, but it was just an incredible experience to actually have. And I want to let you guys see those things, because that's why I came into this role slightly jaded, because I was already making a lot of money. So I felt like I had a sense of worth. I already knew how much I could do, how much I could make. And then here I am coming to a position where lives are essentially at stake, and I'm making less than that. So I my soapbox, I would say, I do wish as a full rep, you shouldn't make less than 6 figures. And I can get associate reps making even a little bit less than this because they are learning, but I wasn't learning anymore. I got hired on as a full rep, and when I got to my year and I was thinking about leaving, I negotiated, which is weird that you have to negotiate with your partner to really determine how much territory you get. We really clicked well. We liked each other, and he didn't want to have to train somebody else. And he knew that I could cover whatever I needed to cover. I could grow the territory more with him. So he was down to increase my territory from the 12% that I started to 25%. And that was me agreeing that, you know, year 2, year 3, I won't ask for any more territory. Let's just focus on growth. And that would help me at least get back to what I was making at Stryker, at Cintas, at about, you know, 120,000. And he was game for that. And you have to remember, here I am asking this guy that developed this territory to come in and let go a piece of his, you know, his child, essentially, and something that he grew from nothing. And he's not getting that money back. So me going from 12% to 25, gaining another 13%, he is essentially losing 13% of income. So it's really hard when you're having these negotiations to convince somebody to open up and be like, yes, you know what? I really like you. Let's do this. And that's why I just don't understand this mentality when it comes to these larger companies, that's how they do it. What the guy that I'm about to do a podcast with, same situation. So they want him to grow his territory to $1 million before they consider putting on an associate. And then when they put on an associate, he has to lose a bit of his territory / his money so that they can hire somebody else. This is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that wants you to give up some of your chump change when they've got so much more to get some help and make sure that the doctors that you are taking care of are getting the service that they deserve. So it was just kind of strange that I had to fight to get to the pay that I wanted. And then my partner 100% agrees. He's like, hey, let's go forward with this. Let's bring this to management. Management denied it. Management said that is way too much of a pay increase for somebody to go from year to year, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. If you're successful at what you do and the people that you're working with, so my immediate partner that's giving me a part of his pizza slice essentially is willing to do that, you're going to say no. So, you know, I ended up having to go, and I'm going to film that next video so that you guys can see how much I made at Olympus and see if maybe that transition from me going to Stryker to another company was worth it. Did I do what I should have done? Did I make a mistake? Did that mistake of me going to that next company lead me to leave again to another company? Like, what are the things? So I want you guys to try to guess in the comments, did I do better? If I did do better, how much better did I do? And guess as to why I left Olympus to go to the next one. And you know what, guys, this video is going to come out really quickly too, because you guys are amazing. You already subscribed, you got to the subscriber count, and at this point I don't even care. Once I get that video out, I'm going to drop the next one, which is going to be the largest commission check I ever made. It's going to be awesome just because I want to open that piece up for you guys so that you can start thinking like, if you're working at, I just got a message from somebody who was working as a Verizon rep somewhere, saw one of my videos, wanted to get into medical sales, and now they're a pharmaceutical rep and they're extremely successful. Like, that's awesome. And if it's something like this video that gets you to decide, hey, I'm going to leave whatever job I'm at, because guess what? That guy's commission check was 50% of what I make in a year, or this is exactly how much I made last year, or something like that. That's wild. And if it takes me just being blunt and open and honest with you guys to make you take that next step, that's what's awesome. Like, I wish that whenever I was looking for information, people were legit, people actually showed what they were making, because you'll see everywhere that the average medical device rep makes about $150,000 a year. I can pull out like 7 to 20 different people and go and ask them, and the majority are going to be so far under that 150 mark that I don't understand how the average is 150. There are people like my partner that, yeah, they were making well above the 150 mark because they were grandfathered in. They've been in the industry for like the last 20 years. But normal people coming in like right now, that's not your standard. You are not going to necessarily find that. And if you do, wonderful. But I want to let people know that just because you work in the, cream of the crop, you're in medical sales now, you're not going to just walk away with a 6-figure paycheck every single year. But if you grind it out, you do what you got to do, there's a huge possibility that you can do that. So if you guys stayed this long, thank you guys. Again, I can't remember exactly what I said. I made $83,000 almost, far less than what I made at Cintas, and then I left and went somewhere else. Next video, I'll explain why I left, how much I made, and if it was the right decision or not. So until the next one, guys, I'm out.